I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, neighbors. I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do. The Thunderbolts! Yes! Yeah! I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed us with a great MCU movie in Thunderbolts, and you already know we got to talk about it. Because not only is Thunderbolts a damn good movie, it got me to cry 3 different times. And on top of that, it answered all of the biggest questions everyone has had about the MCU. Who bought Avengers Tower? Where are the Avengers? How does this all connect to Doomsday and Secret Wars? I was blessed with the opportunity to see this movie early, and in this video, I'm going to be recapping the entire movie and reviewing it in a spoiler manner. I'm talking all the biggest spoilers, that ending, those crazy post-credit scenes. So this is your spoiler warning. You have been warned. But either way, me and you know what we got to do. We got to talk about it. I gotta start off with the star of the show. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, if it wasn't for Spider-Man, is my favorite character in the MCU. And they give her a lot to chew on in this movie. Like, genuinely, she gets some of the best moments. When she eats up John Walker by saying your family left you, you're a piece of shit, me and my entire theater say, God damn! But she also gets some of the best emotional moments in this movie. Which leads me to how we open this movie, because it really sets the table for what we can expect with these characters. Before that, we got the Marvel Studios fanfare back, and when it turns into like the Void-esque and it just turns into a black empty void, and then we cut to Yelena on top of that building as she says there's something wrong. Then we get that cool little mission of her just going about her day, killing people, knocking them out, accomplishing these missions like it's nothing. Because like a lot of us out there, this is her work and it's just mundane to her. It's boring. She doesn't know if this is her entire purpose. And she lets that know when she goes to visit her dad and Alexei, who tells her that you're in a position to be a hero. I wish I could work for Valentina. We learn that he just drives a limo for high profile people, but he really wants to be a part of Valentina's Black Ops task force. He even says, Yelena, put in a good word for me. Speaking of Val, after everything that happened in Wakanda Forever, she's kind of on a hot seat. The government is snooping around all of her little illegal activities and trying to catch her in the act, which sets the plot in motion, and I thought was a very clever way of putting all of these Thunderbolts together. But of course, we also got Bucky, who's keeping tabs on Valentina. My bad, Congressman Bucky. And he finds his way into figuring out what Val's doing by talking to her assistant Mel, who, by the way, Geraldine Biswa-Nathan. But Val was so smart to have all of her Black Ops operatives basically take out each other, with in Val's mind, the last person standing being incinerated because the room they took her in has all of the valuable documents about the Sentry program and all the dark shady shit she's been doing. And I love that because it just sets up the dynamic between this team perfectly, because Yelena's target is Ghost. Ghost's target is Taskmaster. Taskmaster's target is John Walker. John Walker's target is Yelena. And then we get that dope-ass action sequence, which, by the way, I gotta start giving my little reviews in here now and there. You could tell they actually shot this on location, because the blocking in this movie for an MCU movie is actually really great. And for those of you that don't know what blocking is, it's basically the way that a scene is set up. The positioning of the actors with the environment, along with the lighting, was actually impressive throughout this entire movie. But also the action sequences and the way the camera was moving was really cool, especially in this scene. But dog, when Ghost just straight up shoots Taskmaster in the head, me and my entire theater were like, I'm sick of her ass. Yes! That felt like the MCU saying, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was on us. Like, she didn't even go out in a cool way. I was hoping she was gonna get torn in half. Either way, I'm juiced that she's out of there. Because the first time I saw this, I said, what the hell is that? Get out! This is like sewing Deadpool's mouth shut. Now, will the real Tony Masters please stand up?
Hey, it's me. Don't scratch.
That's when they all realize that they've been set up by Valentina, so then they decide to form a team to get up out of there. And that's when Bob pops out and they're like, who the hell is this guy? He's so damn funny, bro. Because even he's like, I don't know, I just woke up here. But we learned there's something more to Bob than meets the eye. And obviously, you know, if you read comics, we all knew this was Robert Reynolds / Sentry / The Void. So the first time Yelena touches him, she relives a traumatic experience from her childhood. While it still lingers, she kind of snaps back into it. I love how they still don't really trust each other, but they kind of need each other to get to the next level of getting out of this bunker. Turn off the power, Ghost opening up the door. And them doing the Pacha and Cusco thing from Emperor's New Groove and climbing up that fucking cylinder. All of that was so funny too. Of course, John Walker being an asshole. Oh, that's another funny ass line when Bob says, Captain America's not an asshole, you are. But then even when John Walker touches Bob to help him up, he goes through that traumatic experience of how he's ignoring his son and his wife, which we learn later on in the movie that they left him. But he pushes that down and lies about it. And thanks to the help of Mel, Valentina learns that Bob, who's in there, was one of the test subjects who survived. So she's like, holy shit, the serum worked on him. As the Thunderbolts are about to dip, she already has the place surrounded with her Ox personnel, but she tells them to use non-lethals. Another thing that I love that they brought back from Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the fact that John Walker can't fucking wait. Anyway, they take out some Ox members, dress up as them, and sneak past them. But when they get to the checkpoint to get out of there, when John Walker is asked to identify himself, he just says no. That's when Bob grabs a gun and starts shooting in the air, causing a distraction, which allows them to leave. But one of the Ox leaders decides to shoot Bob, and they unload the clips on him. But Valentina orders him to stop because that's literally who she needs to stay alive. That's when Bob pops back up like the Undertaker. None of the bullets even phased him. His eyes start glowing yellow and he just flies up into the sky. But he doesn't know how to control it, so he goes back down and crashes, which leaves Yelena, Ghost, and John Walker stranded. But luckily, Alexei was a limo driver for Val and overheard about how she was going to kill all the Thunderbolts, which he knew meant Yelena. Well, he pulls up on him, and of course, it's like the funniest thing ever. She's like, no, I don't know him. He's like, Yelena! That's when we get a cool action scene that we've seen throughout the trailers with Ox personnel chasing after Alexi's limo, him accidentally hitting the Pony Genuine button. Low-key, Ghost was kind of useless with her powers because they have like this weird sound effect that affects her powers. But that's when Bucky pulls up, going back to his Winter Soldier aura farming days. Really looking like a T-800 with the leather jacket, the glasses, the shotgun, the motorcycle. He stops all of the Ox trucks in the coldest way possible. While they're all celebrating, they're like, yeah! Bucky blows up their car, and I love when John Walker's like, ah, shit. Because Bucky needs them because they're all evidence to take Valentina down. While all that was happening, we learned that Valentina retrieved Bob's body when he fell, and she's been holding him at Avengers Complex. And she convinces him that he can be more. She's read his file. She knows he's a meth addict, that he had a very abusive childhood, and he can be the hero that we all need in the world right now. And she accidentally touches him, and we learn a little bit of backstory about Valentina, which I thought was nice, and you kind of understand why she is the way she is, and why she says there are bad people and there are worse people, because she accidentally got her dad killed. But Mel starts getting worried because a guy that unstable with that serum inside of him, who knows what he could do? So she calls Bucky, which confirms everything that the Thunderbolts have been trying to tell Bucky, that they need to stop Valentina because they have Bob. So then he's like, all right, the Avengers aren't coming, so we are. That's when we get Alexi saying, yeah! This is where the fun really begins because now they're really working together as a team and you get those fun little banters between each other like Red Guardian, Winter Soldier. He's like, what kind of serum you get? Bucky's like, the regular kind? I don't know. Hydra? Like, oh, it's good, but me and you, we are the same. That's when they ask Bucky what the plan is and he just crashes straight into the fucking watchtower. They start beating up on Valentina's guys until she says, thank God you guys are here. Come up, I got something to show you. That's when they go up. We see throughout the trailer, they even released the clip. And she introduces the Sentry. And dog, we get the coldest scene ever because that man Sentry was moving different. He made light work of the fucking Thunderbolts. That's when she orders Sentry to finish the job and kill the Thunderbolts. But he says, why would a god take orders from anyone? He starts to choke Valentina out, but she put a failsafe into his head. And just in the time, Mel pushes the button and we're presumed that the Sentry is dead. And Val and Mel get away. But all that did was turn Sentry into the Void. But that's when we get one of my favorite scenes in the movie where they're kind of just talking shit to each other and they kind of break up for a little bit as a team. She says Ghost is not a good person. Ghost calls her a bitch. But then we get the scene between her and Alexi where she's like, I don't know what to do. I have so much, I don't know what my purpose is. And then, bro, Alexi's like, you do remember when you were a little girl? You would light up the room. I love you, Lena. So cute, man. I teared up. But that's when the voice said, stand ready for my arrival, Worm. And he starts turning everyone into shadows. Then we get that really cool montage of all the Thunderbolts saving people, with Alexi saving a little girl that looks just like a young Yelena. And then she gets turned into a shadow. My entire theater said, as Sentry pulled up. Yelena decides to go into the void. And it was so hard seeing Alexi cry because he thought she was dead. But it turns out she just went into a place where she's reliving so many different traumas. She tries finding Bob in this like astral plane, the void. And after seeing how traumatic her childhood was like 3 different times, she finally finds Bob in this attic. And he tells her like, this was the only safe place I could find. It's really nice here. But through the floorboard, we're reliving a traumatic childhood experience from Bob where his dad was beating up his mom and he tried to stop his dad. But even his mom was like, stop it, Robert. You just always make things worse. And the facial expressions that were going through Bob, Lewis Pullman killed it. Because now you understand everything. Everything makes sense. Why he was on meth. Why he became who he was. Yelena's having that conversation. This scene right here made me tear up too. I'm not gonna lie. She relates to him. She's someone that's very similar to Bob and he actually feels comfortable around her. And that's when we learn all the other members of the Thunderbolts showed up into this void and actually found them in this attic. And then we get that dope ass moment where Bob starts fighting the void, but that's exactly what the void wants. Anger, frustration. You're alone. We're always gonna be alone. But then we get Yelena just giving him a hug and saying you're not alone, and then all the other members of the Thunderbolts start hugging him into a big group hug and he just starts crying. Bro, tears. Real tears were flowing. It really felt like Toy Story 3. But yes, Sentry / the Void is defeated with the power of friendship, and then Bob forgets everything that happened. But I think for the most part, everybody in the city of New York also forgets too, because everyone that was sent to the Void comes back. But that's when the Thunderbolts say, Valentina, I'm sick of her ass, and they follow her right into a trap because she spins this whole thing about the Thunderbolts defeating Sentry / the Void, saying that the secret she's been keeping is she's been putting together this team. Let me introduce to you the New Avengers. It almost felt like when Norman Osborn introduced the Dark Avengers, it was kind of like this. But this was something that everyone in the Thunderbolts actually wanted. They wanted a more public-facing role. And Yelena tells Val, we own you now because we know everything. So you're going to accommodate us. So we will be the New Avengers. The mid-credit scene is funny. It's all right. It's just Alexi being like, are you going to buy the Wheaties box to this girl in a grocery store? And she runs away from him. But the post-credit scene picks up with the Watchtower being the New Avengers Tower. And thanks to Bucky, we find out that Sam Wilson does not like the fact that they're called the New Avengers and he files for a trademark for the Avengers. So hopefully this means that Sam is building his own team along with the Thunderbolts. And this whole scene was really funny. It reminded me of the Age of Ultron scene when them going back together, and it made me really love the Thunderbolts as a team. My job at the New Avengers. But that's when we learn that the Fantastic Four have entered the upper atmosphere through a dimensional rift. And then we see the theme playing, and yes, this sets up Doomsday in the next Fantastic Four movie. I cannot wait. Man, I just love the Thunderbolts! And now that we got the recap out of the way, you've already heard my spoiler-free review, which pretty much is my review itself. I mean, to put it simply, Thunderbolts is absolute cinema. For MCU standards, I should say. It's as emotionally resonant as it is entertaining, and the thematic element of self-worth delivers an emotional gut punch. And not only does it have some of the better writing in the MCU, like don't get me wrong, it still does have MCU cringe dialogue and humor, but for the most part, I found the writing, the dialogue quick, witty, and clever. Like, I really love the dynamic between this team of misfits. Everyone gets a moment to shine except fucking Taskmaster, and you know what? Good riddance! But everyone gets a great moment. John Walker being in the top 3 for me, Red Guardian. Bucky, you know, he's kind of there, but he's back to his ore farming ways, and he already went through his emotional trauma in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so there was no need to retread that anyway. But the absolute standouts for me were Lewis Pullman as Bob and Florence Pugh as Elena Belova. They are the heartbeat and pulse of this damn movie. They're the train. They're the tracks that keep this train going. Such incredibly talented actors, man. That's why I cried. That's why I teared up in those scenes, man, especially with Lewis Pullman's Bob. Like, I felt like that before when he's like, I just make things worse. I'm alone. I'm lonely. Like it's a fine line between picking yourself out of that darkness and making something of yourself, and then following down the path that Bob went down. And like, even going down that path of becoming a meth addict and feeling like you're worthless and you have nothing to show for it, even he was able to climb up out of that. He still wanted to do good. That's why he took part in the Century program. Like, that to me, oh my God, man. This is why I think humanity still has goodness in all of us, bro, because we all still have it, bro. We all still have the opportunity. We also have the capability to be kind to each other, be nicer to each other, because every one of us fucking matters. And I don't care what anyone says. You matter. I love you. Man, I love this. That's why this movie resonated with me so much. And when you have someone like Lewis Pullman performing like that with his eyes, like what he was able to do with his eye acting alone was incredible. Like, I just felt for him. Like, he didn't have to say anything. I just looked at his eyes and it told me everything I needed to know. Similarly with Florence Pugh, like, bro, there's a reason you get someone like Florence Pugh, who's an Oscar-worthy actress. She delivers again and again. And if it wasn't for Spider-Man, I think Yelena Belova would be my favorite Marvel character right now. In the MCU, I should say. Because Yelena Belova, you'll forever be beloved, my love. No, this movie is great. Like, I don't think it's a top tier MCU movie. I'm not quite sure if it's going to hit the top 10. I'm going to have my rankings out and you'll find out where it lands. But man, this is a movie that I hope sets a precedent for the MCU moving forward. Like, we love these type of movies where you focus on the characters, you give them great character arcs, great team dynamics. And now I got to give a quick shout out to all of the creatives that worked on this movie, the filmmakers here. This is why I had hoped that this movie would be great when it was first announced, because this is the team that worked on Beef. And, you know, outside of that, various different people on this worked on high profile projects like, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Green Knight, very prestigious, great, incredible filmmaking. So this movie, like, shout out to Jake Schreier, man, Drake Schreier, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He delivers here, man. Like, he actually brought something fresh and unique, and it looked like he actually tried from a filmmaking perspective. Like, I know there's a lot of you that probably don't really understand the technicality of filmmaking, but that's another one of my passions. And in this movie, we get some, like, he's actually trying to block a scene. And if you don't know what blocking is, it's basically the way that the actors themselves interact with the environment. So it's very similar to shot composition, only it's the way, you know, that they're followed on camera. And there's actually a bit of that in here. And the lighting is also very well done. You know, I don't want to harp on Brave New World, but when you go back and look at that movie and you look at this movie, it's like, wow, there's stark contrast. Like, you could definitely tell in Brave New World it was shot behind a green screen, almost like an SNL skit. Like, I don't want to be mean to Brave New World because there are aspects of the movie that I really like, but from a filmmaking perspective, it just kind of let me down. So coming back to Thunderbolts, it's like, I can't do nothing but sing praises to these filmmakers because they understand it. Like, they actually tried to make actual film, like, top to bottom. Not to say that the other MCU movies aren't, but like, this is what I wanted. Like, good shot composition, something creative and interesting, and you know, that's really what I want from my MCU movies moving forward. So I hope they do take a lesson from this because it was incredible. Oh, and shout out to Sun Lux, by the way. They're the composers for this movie. They composed Everything Everywhere All at Once, amongst another myriad of, you know, incredible projects. They are a band themselves too, so they have music. You should check them out. But their score goes stupid. It's hard, bro. It's so good. Like, the final Thunderbolt score, I've had that on repeat in my gym playlist. It's so good. It's so good. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there isn't any needle drops in this movie. Like, I know this is a very Guardians-esque movie, so I was expecting to get, like, you know, some type of needle drop at one point, but for the most part, it's all score. I don't think there was a song that I can think of off the top of my head, but that's incredible. Like, That just shows you how much confidence they had in the score itself. And it shows because it's an incredible score. I might even play a clip right now. But all in all, I do not think you'll be disappointed with Thunderbolts. It's one of my favorite MCU movies now. But for right now, I ended up giving Thunderbolts 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. By the way, follow me there for more in-depth reviews. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Have you seen Thunderbolts? Are you excited for Thunderbolts? Drop a comment down below. And as always, like and follow for more.